Hello everybody. Today we will see how to model a tire for the wheel of the MBOT 2 robot. You can then use it in different forms, like an all-terrain tire or a dragster tire. This tutorial is for super beginners. I will explain it as detailed as possible and point out the mistakes to avoid. As usual, it is best to start with a clean document, so I make File, New, and there I answer the question with No. The first important thing to do is to configure the devices. To do this, I click on the button, Info about the model. I go to Unit, and there we see that I am in cm, but my plan is in mm. So I click here, I select mm. In precision, I will choose one digit after the decimal point, because I have half millimeters in the lengths, and above all, I have to uncheck the length coloring, otherwise it will cause problems. I can close the window. I will show you the plan, or rather the sketch, that will allow us to model our tire. You can either stop it and copy it to a piece of paper, or you can download it. I have included it in the description of this tutorial. Here we are going to start modeling, so for this I am going to zoom in a lot. Because our wheel is much smaller than our character, it is about 1.75 meters at full height. Our robot is more than 10 centimeters, so I will zoom in a lot by turning the wheel. It is important to place the mouse where you want to zoom. Then I hold down the wheel button. I turn to the right. Like this. I click on the character and delete it with the delete key on the keyboard. I am going to draw a first rectangle, which will serve as a rough draft, on which I will draw the profile of my tire. Then I will make a revolution of it. To do this, I press R on the keyboard to see the rectangle tool. I always start from the origin. The rectangle must be green, as it is here, and I click. I leave the mouse here, in the middle of the screen, and at the bottom of the screen, you see it says 426.2 and 229.8. I'm going to type 50, semicolon, so I say semicolon, 20, and I confirm with the return key. You will notice that my rectangle has been resized. I position myself on it. I zoom in by turning the dial like before. To center it, I hold down the wheel and press the shift key at the same time. A hand appears, which allows me to move my drawing. I hold down the wheel and rotate. Now I'm going to draw guidelines. So this is the tool here, the ruler, or just T on the keyboard. These guidelines are construction lines that will help me draw my profile. I draw one parallel to the edge that is on the left. I click on it. I move to the right. I click anywhere. It doesn't matter. There I find myself 10.5 from my left edge here. And I want it to be 27. So untype 27 on the keyboard and press enter. I position a second guideline. I click on it again. I click anywhere. On the other hand, did you notice I cancel along the red axis, like here? And this time I hit 32.5. Notice, it's not a point, it's 32.5 and I confirm. I will now trace the outline of my tire profile. I use the line tool to do this, or L on the keyboard. I leave the intersection. I zoom in to see clearly. I click once. I move along the guideline. Most importantly, I don't click. You don't have to click. I type for and confirm with enter. Then I move to the right along the red axis. Item. Most importantly, I don't click. I type 1.5 and press enter. You notice that this automatically resizes my stroke. I go up. I type 8. I validate. Here I stop right on the line. There is no point in giving a value. I go back up and type 4. I validate. From there I click. I move this way, anywhere. I type 3.5. I hit the space bar to deselect my line tool. I pick up the line tool again. I click here. I move to the right, anywhere. I enter 3.5 and confirm. Now I take the arc tool. Or I can hit the A key on the keyboard. I'm going to click on the starting point of my arc. At the end, it's clearly written, tangent to the vertex. I click here. I go to my second guideline and validate. And here I have just finished the profile of my tire. This is a mistake that you must avoid in SketchUp. Above all, when we make a mistake, we don't try to fix it by hand. The most important thing is to always click on the undo arrow here, or Ctrl plus C on the keyboard. For every error, I repeat, it is super important. Now we delete everything that is not needed. I use the eraser tool, or the E key on the keyboard. I hold the key down and go through everything I need to delete. Just like that. When I release the mouse button, it erases everything, leaving only my profile. I always move my drawing with the wheel pressed and shift pressed. I release the keyboard. On the other hand, I always keep the wheel pressed, so I can rotate like this. I take the circle tool. That's the C key on the keyboard. I always start from the origin, draw a circle along the red axis and click. You will notice that the circle is not really a circle. It's a series of segments. We can see them clearly here. The problem, when I do my rotation, which is my profile here, will revolve around everything. We will see the segments clearly, so what I need to do is increase the number here. The default in SketchUp is 24. I select my circle by clicking on it once. I go to the window. Default palette, show palette if not displayed. I click on Entity Info. This tells me that it is a circle, that it has 24 segments, select all of them, and I write 48. I confirm with Enter. You will notice that the segments have almost disappeared. In fact, they are 2 times smaller. To make a revolution, it's quite simple. First we have to select the trajectory, that is, the shape around which the profile will rotate. Either I choose the surface of my circle, or directly the circle, it doesn't matter. It's usually easier to select the circle itself. Then we click on the Follow Me tool. And I'm going to click on the profile. You will notice that he is circling around my circle. I will pause to show you a mistake that can happen, and I will come back. It can happen that your revolution is gray, as it is here. This means that all the faces in SketchUp are upside down. The dark gray faces like this are the faces that need to be inside the tire. So inside the shape, there should be white faces on the outside. I triple click. 1 to 3, it selects my whole tire and not the circle. I right click on the tire. I go down to flip faces. I click outside to deselect. This flips my faces right side up. As for the beginner part, let's say we're done for today. I will quickly explain to you, for those who wish, how to make the all-terrain tire. I switch to hidden geometry. I see all the faces that make up my curve. I take push-pull. I push a little bit like this. I go to the other faces and double-click. I do the same between each crampon. Then I remove the hidden geometry. I move like this. I select the crampons. I take the Rotate tool, it's Q on the keyboard. I press Ctrl to make a copy. I take the center here. From this point to this point, I type multiply by 23. Since I have 48 segments, I copy it 23 times. That was for the first system. Of course, I didn't do everything. I abort. To model the tire of the dragster, I reduce. I select only the face. I take the scale tool, it's S on the keyboard. I drag the angle. I press Ctrl to zoom in from the center. At the bottom it says 1.50, 1.45. To make it symmetrical, you have to type the same values. 1.5, 1.5 and confirm with Enter. The tire is curved. In general it is rather flat. I delete the surface. I take the line tool. I draw a line from this point to the same point opposite at the bottom. I do the same for the height. I select the face. Like before. Press the Q key, Ctrl, from the center, from this point to that point. Multiply by 47, I confirm. To remove all the edges, I make a selection from right to left. With a selection box like this. Smooth the edges. I uncheck or check, depending on what you did before, to remove all visible edges. There I find my dragster tire. This tutorial is finished. I hope it was useful for you. So don't hesitate to like the tutorial and share it. And write the following words in the comments. Finished tire. Thank you and see you soon for the next tutorial.